Welcome back, everybody. I'm Ellis Cannon. You're watching Night Talk on PCNC, another full show for you. And I was just talking to my friend Audrey here just moments ago about last night and the Game 7 rebroadcast. I hope you enjoyed that opening, but more importantly, I certainly hope that you enjoyed the opportunity to see that last night or whenever you can. It was absolutely marvelous. Well, she's marvelous, and we enjoy our time with her. Audrey, of course, PhD, Consumer Marketing Analyst, Duquesne. You were with us around Thanksgiving. Always a pleasure.
Great to be here. Thank you, Ellis.
All right. Now, let me just start by telling you that I'm gutless. Okay, now let me explain. And yeah, I'm gutless. And we're going to talk a lot about things tonight. But you see, I was going to wear this tie, and I didn't because I just couldn't bring my...
You should have. We would have been like coordinated because I've got my green, you would have had your red.
But, I mean, what do you think that would have been like? I mean, it would have been gauche.
Change it during the break.
Change it. I've got right now. I'm being told by Courtney to change it. The other thing, you know, it's got the press here. Like, listen. I mean, isn't that tremendous?
Oh, that is so cool.
Okay,
that is so cool.
Yeah, right. Well, my son's got it for me. But
put it on, Alice.
All right, maybe I should. I don't mean to be bad about it. But okay, that reminds me of the holidays. So how are we doing? How are the sales going?
Well, at this point, we really don't know. We're doing, I would say, okay, which isn't typically the answer you would expect. As we had talked earlier, Black Friday sales were incredible. Cyber Monday was great. And sales have been okay. November sales increased by about 0.8%. Now, everyone's getting very ecstatic about that. But keep in mind, I said 0.8%, which is 0.8, not 8% increase, which is about what we had on Black Friday. We had 8% increases. And so overall, sales have been okay. We've been doing very well in some areas. Some stores have been doing well. Some have not. So I think overall, retailers are much merrier than they were last year. Hopefully, sales will keep increasing. One of the big factors for Pittsburgh has been weather. You know, the weather's been so cold that a lot of people who are last-minute shoppers have been putting it off, and it's just been too cold to get out. And so I think that's really going to affect sales in the area.
Has there been data out there on how Pittsburgh has done relative to the rest of the country, or again, is that premature?
It's a little bit premature. And typically you have a feel for how things are going. And overall, Pittsburgh typically follows the national trend. So I would probably say, at this point, we're probably increased by 2.5% over last year.
Okay.
Doesn't sound like a lot, but last year only increased by 0.4%, and the year before that dropped by 4%. Dropped, which is historic, has never happened. So I think overall, we're doing okay.
Audrey with the holiday green. Audrey, let's get to a couple of things, and I want to make sure I have the numbers right. So you're saying that we had a plus 8% on Friday, Black Friday.
Correct.
Nationally.
Correct.
And that as we sit here right now, we're at 0.08 plus.
That was in November.
Okay.
Yes. So December sales, we're not quite sure of at this point, but I'm guessing things picked up a little bit. I'd probably guess about 2% increase in December. But once again, the weather has held not just Pittsburgh, but a lot of the nation.
Okay, so it's a 2% plus.
I'm thinking we're at about a 2% now overall.
Okay,
yes.
and that's good, at least considering 2 years ago when it was off.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Now, what are the factors, and why is it up, even if it's a bit of a tick?
Well, you think about it. You know, consumers have been very conservative over these past couple of years in spending. We have not really opened up our wallets. It's about time. People are feeling a little bit more confident about the economy. Job security is feeling a little bit better, and overall there's tons of bargains out there. So, you know, I think you add that as the major factor. Lots of clearances, lots of discounts, lots of sales, tons of coupons that consumers are taking advantage of, and so we're out there spending. Did people get a little too excited when they saw the numbers coming off of Black Friday? Yeah, people were very, very excited. Retailers were ecstatic, you can imagine, because they expected sales to increase 2 to 3%. When they jumped by, like, unbelievably 8%. That was wow. Things are fabulous. But they didn't take a breath, you know, because they knew that they still had to hang in there, do their job, market their stores, market their retail outlets. And overall, you know, I think most retailers are doing okay. Now, I have to say that while you expressed and you otherwise supported the idea we have to be cautionary at the end of November, so when you were on, and there was a lot of sentiment out there about that. Right. You were really bubbly. I mean, you sounded as if, well, a little bit more bubbly. Yes. Now, are you a little down now, or you're just a little bit more reserved? Because this is that part where you're in the uncertain no man's land. Right. I just think a little bit more realistic at this point. You know, because we were so I mean, 8% was unbelievable, and we didn't know where that was going to go, and it didn't continue the trend at that point. And so overall, I think we're okay. I think we're going to continue in that direction. Keep in mind, with Christmas being on Saturday, this weekend is going to be huge for shoppers because this is the weekend before Christmas.
Right.
And so I think with the weather holding a bit, getting a little bit warmer, maybe not getting any snow, I think overall this is going to be really the make it or break it opportunity for retailers.
And we're going to talk about the stretch drive in a moment because I know the stretch drive is right here.
Yes,
and we talked about the next few days. Even in November, we talked about that as being the prime time.
Absolutely.
And of course, for me, that's the only time because I don't even begin to shop until then. I have my brother call me today. He has no idea that we're going to be having our conversation. And he said, I'm over at the Beer Valley Mall, and I can't get a parking place. Can't get one.
Really?
He said there were people that were parked. Yeah, it was Henry.
You had a radio show with him, right?
That's right, yes. Henry, exactly. The Cannon brothers.
Yes.
That's right, my brother.
That's great.
Yeah, I love him.
Tell Henry I said hello.
I will, definitely. Very good. And I'll tell him he could wear this tie the next time we're together.
No, you have to wear this.
All right, I'll wear the tie. But he tells me, he says, Ellis, there's no place to get a parking spot. But he said that the sales, he said there were things being given away. Now, we talked about this then, about how maybe we had to be a little bit careful with the bump because while they were good, there's a lot of stuff being given away. So it might net out maybe not exactly as high as people thought. It might be a little bit of that going on, right?
That's exactly right. Yeah, retailers, as we had talked about right after Thanksgiving, have been concerned, and so they've been offering huge discounts and bargains and opportunities for shoppers to get in there and get some sales. And so if you factor that in as far as the profit margins are going, they're not making as much. But keep in mind what they want to do is at least make a little bit on all the sales as compared to come January when they have to discount at 80% and then they lose their shirts literally.
Right. And besides the economics of it, less than a minute here, and besides the economics of it, I would imagine the retailers feel like they almost need to retrain people a little bit. I mean, that they feel that beyond what they do at the cash register, get out, get active, look at sales, bring coupons. There's a process to that.
It's called the new normal, exactly. And retailers are trying to get us to shop differently because they have conditioned us, like Pavlov's dogs, who were, salivating over the meat. We as consumers were just drooling over all the sales. And so what's happened is we as consumers are so accustomed and demanding these sales that now retailers have to, in a sense, retrain us.
That's right.
And get us into the opportunity that, okay, maybe you can spend full price on something.
Right. But they also, I think, just beyond the actual sales, and I don't mean sale in the sense of reduction, Audrey, I mean beyond the transaction. It's just very important to get people out shopping again.
Yes, exactly.
And so whether that's new or normal or abnormal, we'll continue the conversation. We both teach, and so as a result, I want to talk about a student of mine in a moment and what he had to ask me today and say about online sales. That's big, of course, this time of the year as well. She'll tell us how big and more. Keep it here. James Harrison Foundation later. Ellis Cannon, Audrey Guskey now on PCNC. I did it. That's right, I changed my tie. Audrey Guskey, you made me do it. I did it.
You got to go like this.
Okay.
Pow.
Oh,
my grandson Jake does.
Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah,
I have to say